Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kamidogu podcast, Mortal Kombat 1 Release Week Edition, with Christopher and...
Toasty!
Joining us for today's spicy discussion is the wonderful Christina Rose, Kamidogu writer Nicole, and a man who has been alluded to many times on the podcast and is finally here in the flesh, TotalMK. Thanks so much for joining us. Yes, folks, years of silence was finally broken back in May when the game was officially announced, and it's been a wild ride since. If this is your first time stumbling across our podcast, we've been doing it since 2021, and Kamidogu itself has existed as a fan site since 2005. If you're a Mortal Kombat fan, be sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and check us out on social media, the links of which are in the description. We'd really appreciate it. A quick note before we begin. My second son was born a mere 5 days after Mortal Kombat 1's announcement, and so it's been an incredibly wild rollercoaster trying to juggle 2 kids and work alongside Kamidogu and the podcast. Exactly. Although we haven't discussed this game nearly as much as we should have, we hope that today's episode helps to bridge that gap as we gear up for its release. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, characters, what do you think?
Who's going first?
Whoever.
Okay. Well, I was saying on another podcast recently that the roster's kind of interesting. There's no new characters at all. It's all returning characters. And they focused on mostly what I call a baseline classic roster, which is like your Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, and Liu Kang characters that everyone knows and recognizes. Then they went 3D era. You know, Nitara, Ashra, Havoc. You know what I mean? Brought back characters people have been asking for. And then there was some sort of characters that were outside of that, like Garrus, that were from 11, which is really very interesting. He's probably the most interesting character because they've said that this has nothing to do with MK11 other than Liu Kang restarting the timeline. Well, I'm like, well, if he's there, he's got something to do with the story, I think. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise he wouldn't be there because he doesn't suit the other groups of characters.
And not just that, I haven't watched... They posted, I think, the first chapter of Story Mode. I haven't watched it, but I have seen a screenshot that Chronica is back in some way.
Capacity.
Oh, I watched that 17 minutes and it was so juicy, man. It was so...
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Mate, you see all the movies behind me, right? I love films, right? And like the way that...
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but the way that 17 minutes is done was like awesome.
I think I watched the first 2 minutes before I closed it, just because I couldn't hold back, but the cinematic...
Yeah.
Just
from a technical standpoint,
production value
like
was
the way the camera
huge.
works and like how it's establishing shots and rain and like the effects and revealing a character in a reflection, not just like having its like camera point straight at them, all like great cinematic tricks that are like someone like really knows what they're doing on the direction of the cinematics.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I guess, do we want to jump into the character specific discussions?
Yeah.
Happy to go there. So recently, the most recent one announced at time of recording was Nitara, who's being voiced and facial scanning by Megan Fox. So what do you think of that?
Well, she's my queen, and I've been pioneering for Nitara to come back for years, but I've kept saying they'll never do it because, you know, old Nitara sexy outfit, new Nitara probably not sexy outfit. But to their credit, they have done it. And they've come on the middle ground, and they've. She looks great. She looks awesome. I didn't expect the Megan Fox thing, but I don't care.
No. Really. And there was that whole sort of callback, to, you know, what did you do with Jen's body? That's a callback to Jennifer's body, or is it referring to Conquest Genevieve? It's like, but then Dominic said it was kind of both.
Yeah, he did. He confirmed it. But everyone, before he did, everyone got all over me on that because they're like, oh, Jennifer's body. I'm like, no, it's Conquest. Because, like, the line is, what did you do with Jennifer's body? Meaning she's dead. And that's a Conquest thing. That's not the Jennifer's body. Yep. You know.
I mean, it was Kung Lao saying it. Who was in that scene, too. It was Kung Lao, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great that they were able to have the double meaning in that, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it refers
Brilliant.
to both. It was tongue-in-cheek, and
It was tongue-in-cheek, yeah.
I laughed a lot at that. So
I thought that maybe later, maybe it was both, you know.
And I think it's worth noting too that with a lot of these 3D era characters, Christina, you've actually missed out on majority of the 3D era. So to you, these are actually new characters.
Yes.
Which,
That's true.
So my my MK love started with the original Mortal Kombat. The first I can't call it MK1 anymore. I used to call it that, but I can't. So the original Mortal Kombat through UMK3. And then I kind of took a break, life stuff, and caught back up again with MK9. So all of the 3D era it's new to me, but I was really excited to see Natara. I mean, I knew who Natara was. I just haven't played the games
Really
as much,
her.
and but she looks fantastic. I love Megan Fox. I love vampires, so I'm like, okay, I dig this.
It's funny because they had originally there was going to be a male vampire character as well. There was going to be a male and a female. It's actually in the file still. You can see M_vamp, F_vamp. When you go through the files like I do, you know, like a madman. But you know, looking for things that shouldn't be in there, you know. And yeah, eventually they had to. For time, they scrapped the male vampire character, but that was going to be a whole thing. They were going to be a pair. But I've always thought it's a good introduction to all Mortal Kombat characters are based on something, you know. So I've always thought a vampire character is a good introduction because we haven't had that. And yeah, no, I like it.
And I guess that's probably why Scarlet isn't around, because they, as characters, I guess they kind of clash a little bit. Do you think?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I didn't like Scarlet. I don't like Scarlet.
Don't say that. It breaks my heart.
I hate it.
She's okay. I mean, I'm kind of neutral on Scarlet. I really liked her MK9 design, but it's kind of neutral. But I'm intrigued to see more Natara.
I liked MK9 Scarlet so much more than the 11 one. I hated the 11 one. The only one I liked was the Russia one, and then they changed it, and I was like annoyed at that, you know, but you know, it is what it is. But basically the character itself, I don't know, this feels like really shoehorned in, not like immersed in the Mortal Kombat story, do you know what I mean? Like you can go really deep with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. That's still, it's like woven through the whole thing, you know?
Right.
But I feel like Scarlet was like a rumor, like it was like a glitch, you know, and they just like Scarlet, you know. That always triggers me a bit, you know.
Yeah. I always love that stuff. What's your thoughts on like Ermac, Luke?
Ermac?
Yeah.
It's a bit the same, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Because I also get worried that it's just a matter of time until I put Hornbuckle in the game, and I'm like, it's not a character, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's Chrome or High Code, you know what I mean? I'm like, come on! You know?
I've seen some sick fan art, man. I'm down.
No. And here's the thing. They always do a great job. Always.
Yeah.
They make the character good, and you can latch onto it, sure. Do you know what I mean? But there's some characters I feel like have a natural concept and design, and it's not as like they just grabbed like, oh, everyone wants Ermac, put Ermac in, you know.
Right.
See, Ermac wasn't even a very good character in Ultimate MK3. He had a fireball, telekinetic lift, and then he had smokes like uppercut fatality. I did like the telekinetic fatality.
Sure.
You know, but I played him a lot, believe it or not. I used to. It was either Scorpion or Ermac, and I just one credit the game in front of everybody. And I'm like, I should be Jade. I'm the best.
Well, I guess before we move on to the other characters, I think now that we're onto the topic of Ermac, let's segue into the DLC characters, the combat pack. No females at all, which I think is a bit crappy. But what are your thoughts on the combat pack?
Well,
Quan Chi, man. I'm stoked. That's my favorite character, so that's pretty cool.
there's a lot of ladies in the main roster, actually. Like, a lot. Because I was making the banner for my YouTube channel, and I was doing sort of like a good guy, bad guy thing, and I just noticed I had like 6 ladies on the Outworld side, and I'm like, there's a lot of ladies have been put in the main roster, so I don't have an issue with that, personally, because I think it's well represented already, but I do have an issue with all the guest characters. You didn't really know this, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say 2 per MK game.
Yeah,
that's my max.
I don't like that the majority of each combat pack are guests.
Yeah.
And especially this time around, horror characters fit. But this time around, they're almost like better suited to Injustice because they're all caped and they just don't look right. And I know I'd cop a lot of flack for this because a lot of people love the guests and they sell probably the best.
I do.
But to me, I wish there was a way to turn them off. I don't want to see them ever. They can be there. I just don't want to see them. I don't want to fight them. It just doesn't. Yeah, like I'll try them out. I'll give them a go. But it's just a one-off. I don't want to ever see them or play them.
I've played it. Oh, sorry, go.
It breaks the immersion for me.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm not really a fan of guest characters. It's cool to see them. It's a novelty, but it's not something that I need to see.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's a novelty. Like when that Omni-Man guy came up, I go, "Who's that?" Like, that was my reaction.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
I go, and I was playing another game. Going, "There's some guy called Omni-Man in the new Mortal Kombat. I don't even know who that is." And they're like, "You need to watch Invincible." And I go, "What's that? It's like, what are you talking about? Why do I need to watch that?"
I didn't know who he was either, and somebody said he's like Homelander, but even more messed up. I don't know. I mean, I did see. I know who Homelander is, but
I don't know.
The boys.
I don't know who Omni-Man is. I don't have enough time to keep
No,
track of all this media. There's so much stuff out there. How can you keep track of everything? So
It's true.
See, I think when they first put Freddy in MK9, and I know they always say it sells the most. I don't think it sells the most. I think it sells the most with the other characters because then they have to buy the game, and that brings in the Freddy fans or the Homelander fans or whatever. But it just adds more people to buy the game. You know what I mean? I don't think independently they sell better, but I could be wrong about this. Obviously, I don't have the data in front of me. It's just something I think that's how they sort of manipulate that. That when they talk about what sells and what doesn't, right. I think it should be all Mortal Kombat characters. But like I said, I believe you can have 2 guests. 2's my limit, and the reason I say that is because I felt MK9 was perfect balance. They had Freddy, and they had
Kratos.
Yeah, and Xbox was going to have Marcus or the Locust's General Ram, but it didn't got added. So it was always going to be 2, and I felt like that was perfect. That was just enough of a guest without it dominating, without it overshadowing. Do you know what I mean? But I will say this: I'm not much of an Injustice fan either, even though I bought the games for some reason. No, I support NetherRealm. But MKDC, if they have to do an in-between game, I want MKDC back.
I agree.
Because it's at least 50% Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
And they're the Mortal Kombat studio. You know what I mean? I don't want them to... I get so annoyed when... why don't they do a horror game? I can't stand that tweet. I'm like, no. It's already like enough that we've got this Injustice game that like makes me wait 4 or 5 years for a Mortal Kombat.
Well, that's it. If they add more to the roster, then it's a bigger turnaround, Instead of waiting 5 years for the next game, you're waiting 7, 8 years,
That's right. And that was the amount of time we had to wait between MK4 and MK Deadly Alliance. 5-year wait.
Mm.
And that was like painful. It looked like Mortal Kombat was done.
Well, even MK11 to this is 4. So
yeah.
Imagine if they did Injustice and then went to MK, we'd be waiting even longer.
The reason I also get annoyed is because if there was no Injustice, there might be a chance of an MK Deception HD or a Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks 2. Do you know? There might be a chance of something else that's in the Mortal Kombat world.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But, yeah. Anyway, so next character we'll move to is Sindel. What do you think about Sindel?
Well, I think Kelly Hu is fantastic, so I'm pretty excited. I believe she's voicing the character, so that's excellent. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, she voiced Devora, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I really dig Sindel's look in this game. She looks really regal and much more Edenian, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And her moves, man, like the hair, when her hair flares up, she looks incredible.
Yes.
The fatality was just ridiculous. And the laugh at the end, I rewatched that trailer last night, and the laugh, Mara just, it's good that they got Mara back to voice her. Oh, no, sorry. What am I thinking? No, that's right.
It's Mara from MK11.
Yeah, Mara. Yeah, Kelly's voicing Ashra, isn't that right?
Oh, no.
Limei.
I always get it mixed up. Listen, I always get it mixed up because Sindel fucking looks like Kelly Hu.
Yes.
She does, yeah.
And Kelly voiced Ashra in Cage Match. That's where I'm getting confused.
Damn it, that's what it was. Oh my god, very good.
I'm glad that hopefully Sindel gets fixed.
Yeah, it looks like she's on the right track.
It's the worst Mortal Kombat game for me ever.
Thank you.
There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate for that story, especially.
If I could change one thing in Mortal Kombat, it's that thing that they did to Sindel. I was like I grew up with that story, man. Like I was talking earlier about the characters being interwoven. Like you beat the game with Katana, and Mortal Kombat 2, you get a little bit of like, what happened, and then in MK3 they really ramp it up, and tell more of the story of Sindel. And then they just like threw it all out the window. Like 10, 12 years of story, like for nothing. Like for no reason.
Well, speaking of that, it's quite difficult to get my head around General Shao, because we're so used to calling him Shao Kahn. And every time I say Shao Kahn, it's like, General Shao. What do you think about him? I think what throws me off is the horns. They're really strange. It looks good when he's wearing the mask, but I almost wonder if would have looked better if he had no horns, but the horns were part of the mask.
They've been pushing that narrative of him being like a dragon species or something, because he had like...
Or Onaga's son or something.
That's what
I read that too.
Yeah, that's what the rumors see. I think, you know how Liu Kang's made this universe? I said this on a podcast the other day, and like I blew the guy's mind. Like, Liu Kang was dead when Onaga was around, right? He's like... the bio says something like that too, because I haven't read many of the bios, I'll be honest. He's like, the bio says something about an unforeseen threat or something. And I'm like, well, it could be that. Because Liu Kang was literally dead during Deception, Deadly Alliance and Deception.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when Onaga was around. And so there could be something he hasn't factored in that story mode with Onaga. And then there's all these other things that they're alluding to, that maybe he's got something to do with Khan. And remember, Khan and Onaga have history, right?
Yes.
So Khan was the advisor, and that's what it looks like he is in this game. And then he betrays Shao Kahn, and it becomes Outworld.
I just hope that if we do see Onaga in this game, that we actually see him, and it's not like that very last few seconds of story mode, teasing us for, Mortal Kombat 13 coming 2032. That's when we will resume the story. You know what I mean? Like, I really hope that we... they obviously will end it on a cliffhanger, but I hope that it's not Onaga, because
I think there'll be a cliffhanger between this one and whatever add-on pack they're going to add that adds more story mode.
That's true.
Okay,
they could do that too.
Yeah,
can see that.
Yeah. And what do you think about him losing pretty much all of his iconic moves? So his shadow charges and his javelin and his hammer as well.
I don't really mind it, because those moves are so powerful. I've always felt it, like in Trilogy, for example, getting to play those boss characters always felt a little strange to me. It's like you do it for a little bit, and it's cheap. Like, this is fun, this is cool, but I don't know. It's just, it was cool to get the opportunity, because I mean, like, as a kid, it'd be like, oh, it'd be so cool to get to play as, you know, Shao Kahn or Goro. And then you get to do it, and it
doesn't live up to expectations.
Yeah, so I don't mind having Shao Kahn be different because it's not like you're playing a boss and just mowing through everyone.
Exactly what she's saying. Like, exactly. Like, I've been saying it for a long time. I don't like trilogy, and that's why. The boss characters were a gimmick, you know. People always, like, can't believe it when I say it, but exactly the reason she said, like, it felt weird playing the characters. They weren't done right. They were overpowered, you know what I mean? So when Shao Kahn is, like, a boss character, he has all this power, right? He has the energy javelin, shadow charge, the wrath hammer, you know what I mean? But, like, now he's, like, he hasn't reached that plateau yet. He's, like, working with Sindel, right? I know there seems to be some sort of thing. I think he wants to, you know, with her. No, I'm getting that vibe, you know, from the trailer. You know, when they're alone in that room and she's like putting him in his place a bit.
But his voice, I'm glad his voice actor, is it Iki Amadi? Is that his name? I think. I really enjoy that voice for Shao Kahn.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really enjoy as well is not actually being able to select the bosses, because I think that adds a different feeling. So whoever we get as the big bad, I hope we can't select them at any point.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
And speaking of all the characters, they're always like, I'm a big dude and I do these big, like, I'm like, see, I'm a meathead, you know? But it's like Shao Kahn in MK2, I always use it. He didn't look that intimidating. He wasn't even that big.
Yeah.
He just,
I was afraid of him.
No, it was imposing, right? Because it was one of the first ever video games where the game insults you.
I was actually going to say I was more afraid of him speaking than his actual being.
Yeah.
He's you know, like, I was in the arcade, I remember, as a kid, and he would kick your butt, and not only would he kick your butt in front of everybody who was watching, he would insult you as well.
It's official. You suck.
So
yeah,
you suck.
No, I mean, nothing resonates with me more than you weak, pathetic fool. When I heard that, like, you'd walk away as a kid with your head down. You're like, man, I got my butt kicked, and he was mean to me too.
Even my mum knows you weak, pathetic fool, because I'd be playing it on Super Nintendo, and I had all the speech. And when I lived up in Queensland, like, I was like in the bottom room where my thing was, and the laundry area was behind me. So if you obviously be doing the laundry or something, and you just hear, like, me die over and over again, like, you weak, pathetic fool, just laugh, you weak, pathetic fool, like, thanks.
Love it. All right, Reptile. Reptile's next. What do you think of Reptile?
I
personally,
I like. Oh, go ahead, Toasty.
No, ladies first. Go ahead. No, ladies first. It's all good.
I've never really been really big on Reptile, but I don't dislike this Reptile. It's different than I was expecting, but the look, I don't mind.
The baby face.
See, okay. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna get that out here right now. Personally, for me, I find a lot of the characters, I don't know what it is in this game, they look a little too babyface to me. And they look almost like AI-ish, almost, I don't know, it looks a little off. And, like, I'm so excited that Havoc is back, but he looks too babyface to me, like the upper portion. It looks off to me. It looks too much like Green Day emo boy kind of vibe. I don't know. That's just me. Now, Reptile, I like his reptilian version. You know, because some people have brought this up before. I think it's most intriguing in this title how they seem to be almost mimicking certain variations from the movie. If not the costumes, look at Reptile's version. He kind of looks a little bit like he did in the movie, just the snout's not quite as long. But I thought that was pretty cool. And another thing I noticed on Reptile, if I'm not mistaken, his human version rather, is all the tattoos. You notice there's a lot of these characters have all these tattoos going on. It's very different. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that.
I agree with you. I think, especially about Havoc. I think Havoc looks weird. I've always said that. And the reptile form. I don't know about that, man.
Do you like the iguana version from Deadly Alliance better?
I do.
I think my issue with, with
cool.
Reptile,
That's
I
cool.
like that he changes, but I think when he's in lizard form, he's too fat. He's too thick.
Yeah, he looks like a beast. And
He's too bloated.
He's got that like frilly neck, like thing hanging down.
I still would have liked him to change, but I would have liked him to look kind of like maybe Mortal Kombat 4 or even Shaolin Monks, where he was kind of like mostly lizard, but he had like a very slight human quality to him still.
Yeah, MK4 was good too, yeah.
And also the clothes.
I love MK4.
I'd like him to keep the clothes because it's like he's clothed, then he changes and he's naked, and then his clothes are back. Like it's a bit unusual.
Yeah, I don't want to see his, Reptile.
We'll leave it at that.
You had to go there. But
I'll have to be the different one here and say that I really like his design, like both the human and the lizard. I'm not sure if it's because I don't really care about Reptile, and I guess I was kind of worried they would go like full human. Like I saw a lot of people asking for human Reptile. It's like, why? What's so interesting about human Reptile? And I like how they brought human Reptile, but at the same time had his lizard form. So I don't think I'm gonna play him, but I like his design.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I'm happy to see both. I mean, I grew up with more human Reptile, him hanging out in the background in original Mortal Kombat, and then he became a reptile, like an actual reptile. So I like that this has both. I like the change, and he's nothing like I would have expected. So I'm intrigued by that.
I mean, if they do,
I have no idea what they're going to really do with him, but I
just hope if they have
curious.
friendships. Like I know the idea of Reptile was at a KFC, so I'd love him to like pull out a chicken drumstick and just start chewing on it or something.
I've been to that KFC.
Little callback.
I went to that KFC.
Yeah.
Did you take a picture with Tabmark?
Yeah, Tabmark, MK Dan, Natch, Jasper. Yep, we all went. We found the KFC. Right. I went there, and we took some photos inside. They all got chicken. Actually, I should have got chicken there.
All right, Nicole. The moment we've been waiting for. Ashra. The floor is yours.
Man. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm excited for this game, of course. The roster is amazing. I've played both the stress test and beta, and the gameplay is really great. I like what I've seen in the story so far, but this game is special just because of her. I've been like waiting basically 17 years for her, and it's hard to believe she really has returned. I think it's only going to truly believe once I get the control and start performing her combos and so on. But yeah, I'm really happy. I don't know if you read that article I wrote for her before her review, talking what I wanted, and basically the first like top thing I wanted was for anyone else to like give her demonic features, which was sort of lacking from her original design, and they did it amazingly. I love the black eyes, the receding hairline, the scars. Her gameplay looks great as well. I'm really happy they kept most of her backstory intact, including Datusha.
Yes.
So we'll see. I am very optimistic, so I really hope they develop her further this time. But from what I've seen so far, she's amazing.
Do you like her outfit?
I love it.
I think for me, not having the hat was like, I don't know, that annoyed me. But I'm hoping there'll be a skin. I'm hoping there's a skin for it.
Yeah, the hat has the iconic nature, like that iconic presence, but I am not mad because I don't see the hat as a crucial element of her character, She has the demonic nature and the Chris / Datusha, and those are what really matter for her. Like, Ashra without the hat is still Ashra, but without those two, she's a different character. And as I said, I'm sure there will be skins and gear. Like, I can bet along that one of her gear is going to be a hat. So
yeah,
it's fine.
Sure.
Hopefully. I mean, I know you saw a photo Chris, but that's from story mode.
Yeah.
Everyone kept getting on me about that. The shooter with the... I'm like, mate, that's story mode. That doesn't count. Like, what about all those NPCs that were in not Deadly Alliance, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe? They're not in the game, you know? Like, you know? But I hear what you're saying. She has a great story, for sure. But I just feel the hat's so iconic. It's one of those big... I don't know
to me, the hat's almost as iconic as Raiden. If he didn't have a hat, it's not Raiden. And the difference is, though, Asha is a character who didn't get much limelight, and they've used this opportunity to redesign her in many ways because a lot of her moves are completely different.
Basically,
and so,
all of them.
Basically all of them. So
thankfully,
to me,
because I didn't like her moveset.
Yeah. So to me, it is a bit strange without the hat, but because it's such a big redesign of her character, I'm willing to give her that shot because, again, like Nicole said, the hat is iconic, but because she's changed so much and I'm so excited myself to play as her, it doesn't really bother me so much either. The hairline's a bit strange, but...
I feel like the hat is going to have more of a actual relevance now. Like, we see her wearing the hat in what I suppose Outworld, so I'm assuming she only wears the hat now to cover her scars, which makes
possibly
sense.
Yeah, because I think I remember in her Deception biography they describe her as a demon of the Netherrealm, but she just looks like a pretty lady. Yeah. So now she actually,
looks like
written,
a demon.
She looks the part, and I love the way they've spun it. Like she's done away with as much of it as she can to become as human as she can, but she's still not quite there yet.
Which I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah?
I'm suspicious.
I don't agree. She's not like a pretty lady in Deception, though. I thought she was cool.
But she didn't look like a demon.
Yeah.
She had all the Asian iconography, and she had the Chris. You know what I mean? Which went...
Yeah, but she was still kind of pretty.
She was pretty. I feel like the designer just too American.
You still take her out to
dinner.
She can
be pretty and a demon. That's the thing, dude. Like if you read about succubuses,
hot.
they succubuses, they seduce. That would be if you look honestly. If you're a female demon in the Netherrealm in a male-orientated area, a lot of women will use their feminine wiles to like anybody's seen any movie, to get a leg up,
That's true.
And seduce them and then cut their throat when they're not looking. Have you seen Battle Royale?
No.
You haven't seen Battle Royale?
No.
I've seen Battle Royale.
I have seen it. I don't like the film, I admit.
Oh, it's nasty. But like, there's a girl, she literally gets two students. Yeah, it's intense. She gets two students and then she sleeps with them, and then when they're not looking, the idea is they have to kill each other.
Wow.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Now, one character I could not believe came back. Okay, I'll beat Kameo form, but is it Darius? I did not see that coming. If anything, I was expecting Dairu before Darius.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That threw me off guard.
See,
that threw me off.
I found that I still question where that came from because there are so many characters they can pull from.
Yeah.
And to grab Darius was really strange in my eyes because a lot of the 3D era had some really cool characters, but he was one of the characters I thought was kind of like a nothing character because he had very generic moves.
I think it's really because the connection maybe with Havoc.
Possibly.
Because they didn't want to add Hotaru to the playable roster, unfortunately. So, take Darius.
I thought he was cool.
How many of you have ever met a Darius fan?
How many of you know Darius hater? Me, I hate him. I hate him and I hate Kai. I've always said I hate him.
I think Kai's Kai would have had room to develop. I mean, we've only really seen a couple little moves from Darius. He might be cool. Like the one where they grabbed his legs and spun him around. Was it Rain that spun him around?
That's a cool looking.
Or Khan, maybe?
He had awesome moves in Deception. He was fun to play as he spun around and had all these cool things. And he's actually based on a martial artist called Jim Kelly. I don't know if you know this. I tweeted out about it.
Oh, wait, is
recently.
that the Enter the Dragon?
Enter
fella?
the Dragon.
Yeah, Williams.
Yeah.
He gets with the afro. Mr.
Yeah,
Hahn. You can
the
buy
alternate.
that. Look, I met him. He came to Melbourne, and I met Jim Kelly. Yeah. I Enter the Dragon signs.
That's amazing, mate.
Yeah, and he's doing the lines. For the guy in front of me, for his kid, he was doing all the lines. I'm like, oh, I wish I could record this. He died a year later. He had cancer. It was really sad. But anyway, they based Darius on him because in the audio files of Deceptions it says Fighter J. Kelly. They probably left it there by mistake because they changed it to Cassius. He was going to be called Cassius. They must have forgot to update the audio file name, and they left it as Fighter J. Kelly. And
wow.
Because Darius is called Cassius in the files, and then they changed it to Darius at the last minute. They just updated the art files inside.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got a side question. You can cut this out if you want, Christopher. But TotalMK, since you're such an expert on all the in-game files and such, I do have a question for you. Is there any evidence whatsoever that in the Deception Conquest you could maybe, or it was planned to run into the female chameleon? Is her name listed anywhere? I think in the Dark Prison in the files, her name is listed.
Wasn't she the only character out of everybody that never appeared in Conquest?
She's the only... Well, the male and female chameleon never appeared in the Conquest.
I don't remember anything, off the top of my head, but I can take a look while we talk.
All right. Well,
okay, thank
in
you.
that case, let's move on to Havoc.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say, I don't know anything about Darius because it was in the area that I kind of missed. So
3D.
I don't know. I guess I'll learn.
See
I
how
don't
it
know
goes.
anything about him.
I actually think Christina's coming from a really exciting place because you get to experience all these characters for the first time. So these are all Luke mentioned that there's no new characters, but for you, there's so many new characters.
Just because I don't know, it was a time. I just didn't have time at the time.
That's all right. We'll do a playthrough one day and we'll relive the glory days. But in terms of Havoc, right here. I think Havoc's moveset looks wild because he was known for ripping off limbs and cracking his knees and everything. I kind of hope that he's got that move where he cracks his knees backwards and does that low fireball because that was kind of iconic to me. But I remember when he was introduced, having a character that literally snaps his neck and does things in battle, and you're like, ooh.
I love the torso spin. That's a sick move.
Yeah, and even his X-ray where he punches you to the point where his hands fall apart, his arms fall apart, and then he sticks his bones in the side of your head and then grows everything back is just insane. I know he's copping a lot of flack right now because he's missing his helmet. So like Ashra missing her hat, he's missing his signature helmet. But hopefully we can maybe pop that on with, gear changes and that kind of thing.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I hope we can give him the helmet and the ponytail.
Yes, that's true. One thing I was going to mention too was his voice was actually quite jarring. So in the trailer, I can't remember what he says, but he's like, like sort of angry. Whereas in...
He sounds like Kermit the Frog?
Not quite. Sorry about that. But in terms of when he used to speak to him in Conquest, he was all about Chaos Realm. He loves Chaos, right? So I used to love how his voice was very calm because you wouldn't expect that. So he would walk up to me like, I am Havoc of Chaos Realm. Like, terrible version. But
the point
you know what
is
I mean?
there, though.
Yeah, he wasn't like in your face. Like, he was all about chaos, but yet when he spoke, he was very calm, and that was very unsettling. So I really miss that about him. I mean, we only had a little bit of audio, so I'm sure he doesn't sound like that all the time. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Well, we'll have to see.
Is Chameleon actually in the prison, or is it just a thing?
I don't believe she actually appeared in there. I don't believe so, but I'm pretty sure. Serena is in the prison. I remember seeing her. I'm pretty darn sure. But Chameleon, I did not see her at all in Deception, not in the Dark Prison stage. And I looked everywhere for her in Adenia, where she was rumored to be in the Conquest. Nothing.
I'll probably have to look up the script file, but in the art files, there's no model, but there is a model for Serena. I forgot that Serena's in the prison.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that going, oh, I don't remember that.
Arena for Combat Pack 2.
Oh, I love Serena. She's so good.
Yeah, as a cameo, she looked wild.
So I've been pioneering for Serena and Nitara.
Such a shame she's not in the roster.
They're my favorite female combatants, actually. So
I think Serena has a lot of story potential. A lot.
Yes.
Like, huge. Like, yes. And I'm shocked she hasn't been put in. Nitara has a good baseline story introduction, vampire realm, blah blah, trying to save everybody. So I feel like she has a good. She's not just pushed in like I was talking about when they're a rumor character. It's sort of make up something. I don't know. Feels
just shoved in quick.
Shoved in. Yeah. It feels like that to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But Serena's character's deep because it goes back to MK4, MK Mythologies. RNG, you know what I mean? So how has this character not been put in? And then they had her in MKX, even in the story mode, as an NPC. Yeah. She shows up in the Netherrealm.
Because she hasn't been playable since Armageddon, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She was a beast. She was so good at Armageddon.
She's certainly a character who has a lot of potential.
She's a very interesting character. She wants to escape. Is she really a bad person? Because remember, if you think about it, only evil people can exist in the Netherrealm, according to mythologies, right? Mm-hmm. But she wants to escape the Netherrealm. She wants to get out. But is it a trick? Because if Sub-Zero lets her out, it doesn't happen. But if it did happen, would she then just turn, ha ha ha, what you doing, Tanya? Ha ha ha, I don't know what Katana's throwing you. Can't you see, Sub-Zero? This is a trap. Do you know what I mean? You know, so there's a lot of interesting ideas that could be played off that character, you know?
Yeah. Sure. What about Garrus? So back from Mortal Kombat 11. Totally, I never cared for him at all in MK11, but I would never play as him because I'm not someone who plays grapplers, but I think what they've done with him in MK1 looks epic.
His gameplay looks good, but his story, his inclusion concerns me a lot.
I guess whenever you see Garrus, you just think of him and Chronica tied in together. Yeah, and so you think, if he's there, surely she's going to come back at some point. And I kind of wonder if he's deceiving Liu Kang because he's still loyal to Chronica, because they say that he cannot be destroyed, so he knows about every single timeline. So he's got more knowledge than anybody. So, yeah, it worries me, but I'm intrigued at the same time. But I know that he's been...
avoid all that shit in this story.
I know he's being voiced by Phil Lamar this time, so he sounds epic. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. Not someone I would personally play as, but I think his gameplay's definitely stepped up this time around. Yeah. All right, Li Mei. Epic. I always liked her as a character.
She plays amazing. Just get out this way. Her gameplay is amazing.
Yeah, when I got the beta and she was the first person I chose because I love the way she looks. Her moves look insane. I got very much like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon vibes from her.
Yeah.
Of course, she kind of looks like Kelly Hu as well. And a bit like, forgive my pronunciation, Michelle, is it Michelle Yeoh?
Michelle Yeoh, yeah.
Yeah, she looks a lot like her. But when I played as her in the beta, I'm like, man, she's so cool. And her moves have changed a lot, but I really love what they've done with her. I really do. The lantern, you know, she's got her that signature sort of, you know, that dive forward and multi-punch. But even her throw, where that big dragon comes up and slams him into the ground. And I still say to this day, I love the fatalities they've shown off so far are really cool. But her fatality is still my favorite with the exploding head, like fireworks. I love it. So good.
No, mine's Nitara's so far.
Yeah, I think they're all epic in their own way. Like, I'm really impressed because we went through a phase in the 3D era, especially, where a lot of the fatalities were just like...
Same.
Boring.
Okay. Yeah.
I did a YouTube video where I showed my dad all the MKX fatalities, and he just said it the best. So he hasn't ever seen them, really. They're all the same. He's
Yeah.
like me. He's like, they all just cut up in a different way. And then he liked the ones that were independent, like the reptile acid pool fatality, where they like go in and they sink in and they're like hands sticking up like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm the same. They need to be like that. And I think they've listened because
They're
like,
really
all the
imaginative this
fatalities
time
are
around.
independent. Yeah,
quite
all the
like it.
fatalities are independent now.
Yeah.
Like they're not just like cut and paste ones. They're like, we can just, cut this or this way, or everything's like independent and newly rendered and stuff.
Absolutely.
Boy, did I laugh, and boy, did I laugh, and boy, was I stoked when I seen that Smokes blow up the world fatality came back.
Yes.
Yes, it was so good, and it looks amazing. I loved Ed Boon's tweet there where they did the comparison. It was really neat.
So I actually did that fatality when the game came out before I knew the input for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
because the
stumbled on
input's
it.
up, forward, down. That's the fatality. And I have this thing, like, because Scorpion's my main. If I don't know the fatality, I just go up. And then I jump back, and I'm just like, what? And I went up, and then I just rolled the joystick and hit forward, down. And I went, bum, bum, bum. And everyone was like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it was cool, all right?
That's awesome.
I saw that fatality so many times because everyone just loved playing Smoke in those days. It was one of the most frequently played characters for sure.
I beat someone so hard that tried to beat me with Smoke once that he threatened to kill me in the arcade.
What?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Player came over and with his friends, and they're like Smoke, and they were like ha ha ha, like that to each other, like I don't know, Cabal. I just blocked every attack he did. Block, dash, came in, Loki, high punch, down, high punch, flying, high punch, fireball.
Rinse and repeat.
Good times.
And then I just wiped the floor with him, and he's like, "You didn't give me the third round." I'm like, "You didn't earn the third round." He's like, "You gotta give me the third round." I'm like, "I don't have to give you anything, man. Learn to play the game."
Oh, man.
He's like, "I'm gonna kill you." I'm like, "Try it. I'll beat you again, like I did in the game." And he's like, "Oh."
That's awesome.
And I saw him again.
All right. What do we think about Tanya?
I love her, honestly. I think that she looks like regal and powerful, and I just absolutely love what they did with Tanya. And again, I didn't play a lot of any of the 3D era, but I'm familiar with her from MKX. But
MX, sorry.
I told you about 4. 4 was the one that all of my Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 arcades moved and it was replaced by MK4, I just got mad. So I didn't play a lot of 4. But
okay. But you played a little bit, yeah.
I played a little bit, but just a little bit. But I really, she's not somebody that I'd want to mess with. She just looks super powerful and cool, and I'm excited.
And someone
for her.
else whose moveset's kind of been refreshed as well, which is quite interesting. I don't know if
a big complaint though is how different they've changed up Johnny Cage's moveset and stuff like this. I've seen a lot of complaints online. So
well, the thing for me, Tanya was my favorite, right, in MK4.
Okay.
With the moves, I could beat like anyone with Tanya, right? But I mean, this might rub you guys wrong, but like, I didn't like that they changed her look from Egyptian to more African. I didn't think it needed to be done. Like, why are you changing the character? That's too jarring. Like, originally she was a Denian. Her race wasn't really defined, sort of blank slate, right? But then as soon as you like go MKX and give it that Egyptian look, I'm like, okay. For me, that's it from then on. When you then change it to something else, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just like flip-flop the characters, and do you know what I mean? They got to stay with their look.
I always thought Adenians looked slightly Asian as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I do agree. I'm not a fan of the hair.
Yeah.
I'm open to anything. But it was a huge departure because she used to have white eyes as well with the makeup.
That's it.
As well.
And I thought it looked really good with like the bob, like Cleopatra hairstyle.
I was a big fan of that look too. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people were. I thought just stick with that, and her outfit was really cool. Like it like slashed around, like a diagonal slash across the body, and like it looked regal. It was like gold. You know what I mean? Like Cleopatra, like a queen, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I thought this jarred me. It was just too different. It was like a different thing going on.
I always thought she looked kind of Egyptian, and I always thought Rain kind of looked a little bit Egyptian too.
Yeah,
especially with the clothing. I was a big fan of the way he looked, pretty much from MK9 up to MK11. I thought he looked really cool. But
all Indians are royalty, right?
Yeah, but he seems a bit strange in this one. He's almost like a wizard. I mean, I never really cared for Rain. I never really played Rain. But I did like the way he looked. And purple's a cool colour. Hence.
Purple is the best colour. By the way, purple is my favourite colour.
And that is why Reptile MK4 is the best.
Hang on.
Love those pants.
Is there ever a purple Reptile?
Oh, he had a bit of purple on him, I think. Wasn't it like...
Oh, he did. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the pants. The pants. Yeah,
that's the pants. Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking classic look for some reason.
Oh, okay.
That's something that rubbed me wrong in 11. I hated that you could be pink Sub-Zero or white Sub-Zero. I'm like, no.
That pissed me off. Stop
that. Straight away.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think maybe that's possible again in this game, which I'm not a fan of. Like, I don't like to me, Scorpion should always be some kind of yellow.
I think they've listened, though. I don't think... I hope not. Because I think the gear system now looks like it just adds like a hat or a jacket or like an accessory, rather than like changing all the baseline clothes. I think the skin is the baseline clothes.
And they might have just like maybe 2 or 3 attires, and then you can like accessorize. So you can put a handbag or pearl necklace. I'm down for. Because like the grind in 11 was so dumb. Like I remember playing Jade and I wanted that one mask, and I'm like, I can't get this mask. And then someone in the chat's like, oh, you had to get it. You know, back when Ed Boon tweeted about it. Oh yeah? What if I didn't see that tweet, which I didn't? They were so limited on time, and I guess you and I as well, Luke, being in Australia, the crypt events would run from X to Y, and then we were asleep for half of that.
Yeah.
So it's...
And here's the problem I got. What if you don't have Twitter? I said this one day. What? You're just supposed to look around and just bump into it by magic, like just by happenstance? Come on, man. Like the game should tell you, there is an item that you can find right now and you have a week to find it. And here's a clue. You know, like Ed Boon would say, in the bottom of the pit or whatever. Tibet phone mod or whatever. Right? The game should tell you that, not Twitter. Because you're playing the game. You know, so...
And if you are unlocking things, I definitely think it's better to have prices and you earn currency and you choose what you want. Yeah. You don't unlock 10 things you don't want. You go and you save up for what you like.
Well, it looks like this one, they've got, like, in Invasions, you unlock skins and everything, and you're not doing all this gear, like I said, like accessories. You unlock cameos. This is something I've complained about forever, that you don't unlock characters anymore. It looks like...
Yes.
And I was hoping for this. I'm like, I bet the cameos are unlocked in the... whatever the crypt was. We didn't know what it was at the time, right? I'm like, I bet they're unlocked there, because I've been whinging. They seem to listen to what the fans say a lot, that we missed the unlocking, and, you know, so I'm glad I'm getting it back in some
capacity. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, it was a big part of it. Like, Deception was like almost a 50% roster that you had to unlock.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people these days, it's called instant gratification, where they just want stuff now. And
I think it's the tournament thing.
I like working toward it.
It's the tournament thing as well. I just want to turn the game on and go, let's play, and all the characters are there, right? To that I say, tough. Unlock them if you want to use them.
Well, at the end of the day, people who train for tournaments play the game, so unlock them and then you can play as them.
That's right.
Speaking of which, I did see a leaked screenshot. I think Havoc's one of the locked characters, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it must be something to do with going into the Chaos Realm. Because you go into the Chaos Realm in Invasions, right? The portal opens in front of you.
Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did you not see that? No, that was an official video, not a leak. That was an official video, not a leak. I try not to look at the leak, but sometimes they just come along past my timeline. But that was actually, Ed Boon tweeted out the Invasions video, and it was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen the concepts for all the areas in that mode, and honestly, I gotta say though, they look quite beautiful.
I haven't seen that. The background art is, and this is amazing, like fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever. We go back to other podcasts when I say this, but once we got to the 3D era, we started losing a lot of color in the game, and the first few games were full of color.
Yeah.
And now the game is just popping with color. The environments are absolutely gorgeous.
I'm going to take credit for that, Chris, because I did this.
Really?
I don't know if you saw it. Well, I did
Luke.
too. I did a rant video about the Mortal Kombat 11 title screen. I'm like, chat, what is it? And no one could answer it. Do you know what I mean? It's just this like black floating crystal rock things. Like, I'm like, what's this got to do with Mortal Kombat 11? Like, and everyone's like, I think it's Chronica's Keep. I'm like, yeah, you think it is. You don't know it is. Because like, and Chronica's background has all those things that are moving, right? Up and down. So for me, it's not Chronica's Keep. I'm like, what is it? Well, like, what? Why am I in a cave? Like, and then when they went...
It's the Batcave.
And then when they did the next version, the add-on version, they kept the same background.
And it went gold.
And just made it gold, the logo. And I'm like, what's going on with this? This looks terrible. Like it just hit me one day. I turned the game on and it just hit me one day. Because before that, I just was pressing A. And one day I looked at it and went, what is with that title screen? Like, and I did this whole stream about it for like 2 hours because I'm like that. You know, and I'm like... Someone even like, I can't believe you've ranted about a title screen for 2 hours. I'm like, I can, it sucks, you know. And they listened.
The title screen in this one is gorgeous. I love it.
Well, that's it. They listened. They must. I'm telling you. Look, I'm just going to say it, Chris. They told me at E3 they watch all my videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had a team member tell me that, right? And I reckon for sure they listened, and that new title screen is beautiful. So I'm taking
Cashew, my new favorite character.
For it.
Have you got your Outworld cap there too?
Yeah, I can get it.
Go for it. So that's another thing I'm happy to see, that Outworld is purple again at nighttime. Seems to be blue sky during the day, which is unusual, but at least we've got it purple at night. And that's something I've really been lobbying for, because Outworld had no personality before. And we're finally back there. Alright, let's move on to Baraka. What do you think about Baraka and the whole Tarkat being a disease?
Iffy.
I still like it.
So
I'm
good.
open. I'll let it play out.
Fun,
Sorry,
bit strange.
Nicole, go ahead.
It's a bit.
Just want to say that I like the concept. Like, so far, it seems like they are executing this well. Like Baraka, Melina, they both seem to have like more depth to them. So I'm optimistic again. I think they're doing a good job with this, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the trailer where you sort of see them, I like how they kind of look like slightly zombie-ish as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. They're a bit scarier than before. But I think his gameplay looks awesome as well, so... Yeah.
So, you know, I wore this at PAX in 2018, right? Well, you didn't come down for PAX, did you?
No.
Because Derek was here from NetherRealm.
What did
And
he
he saw
say?
the hat.
What did he think?
He loved it. And then it ended up in the game. This is Shao Kahn quote.
There you
Taking
go.
credit for that too. Because we all saw the hat. We love it.
I'm just going to... Once this episode's done, I'm going to put written by TotalMK, edited by
I'll take
TotalMK,
credit.
IDs TotalMK.
That's it. Full credits.
Exactly.
Get me paid.
What are your thoughts on Smoke?
They do listen, and I have been referenced in the game even by my signature TMK. You've seen that in MK11, right?
Where was that?
Cassie Cage is texting, and has he got any news for TMK?
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, and I'm referencing MKX. I thought Outworld was going to be purple or something. Don't believe everything you hear online.
Really?
So the video make up purple again.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Smoke?
I think the story's kind of weird, personally.
How they've swapped everybody around?
Know how, like, the Lin Kuei killed his parents, so he, like, went and lived with them? I'm like... I'm like, what? I'm like... I come after you do that to my parents. I don't know. It seemed weird.
Yeah, I like the little... I think it's an Indonesian dagger that he's got. That looks really quick to swipe. And his combos look really cool. I do miss the long hair, though.
I don't.
No?
I hate it.
I loved it. I
have the story of when MK9 was coming out, someone showed me the picture, the select screen picture of Smoke. You know how he's got the crazy, like, silver hair? Oh, that's fake, man. That's so fake, man. I said, if you believe that, you're clearly like an idiot. That's so fake, man. That's fan art. And it wasn't. I'm like, oh no. What did they do to Smoke?
I kind of wish he had a bit more smoke around him when he was just in his stance too. Just because that's how he used to be.
Yeah. Well, he had the puffs
in
Ultimate, like the...
Yeah.
It was like patchy. It wasn't like a big... Now it's like a big smoke cloud.
Yeah.
But I've never really liked the hair. I just think the hair's weird. I don't know.
What do you guys think of the new mask? Anyways.
I like the concept, but I think a lot of people don't like it. Just because
there's been a lot of divided feelings.
Well,
I actually don't mind it. Something different.
How it looks robotic, sort of.
No, it literally looks like a gas mask.
Oh, it looks like a gas mask. Yeah. Well, it makes sense. From a logical standpoint. If I was smoking all the time, I'm soldering all the time, but I can't stand getting the leaded solder fumes in my face. That's why I've got the fume extractor.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I was just so happy to see a human smoke that I didn't pay too much attention to the mask. I was just like, yay!
For sure.
Yeah, I like how they've, especially with Smoke, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero, the outfits are quite similar, but they've got these little features on them that set them apart. And that's a nice nod back to their old palette swap days. So.
Do you reckon they'll put a cyber version of him in the game? Or there'll be an unlockable version?
Well,
I thought I'd seen a leak, unless that was bullshit.
Yeah, I saw something online. I don't know if it's real or not.
You guys like, no spoilers, and you know all the leaks. I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
we're just fucking going all out here, man.
Well, these days with AI and stuff, you never know what's real and what's not.
That's right. Just think about it. You got Cyrax, you got Sector.
True.
Yeah. Makes
sense.
It's got to be an invasion mode. Look, they've been working on this game for ages. I reckon there's so much stuff to unlock in invasions mode. I'm hoping I'm not wrong about this.
There better be Mortal Kombat Conquest references.
Well, there's already one.
There better be. What was that?
There's
already one, right? So there's hope.
Well, I just want... The one thing I want to unlock, other than the Kameo fighters, is the skins. I want, lots of skins to unlock. Like, the Katana's, Melina's Torchbearer skin and stuff like that. Like, they look great. Like, because that was a big thing I had a problem with. I had a lot of problems with MK11, but I didn't like the outfits on the ladies. I thought they were, too robotic and, clunky. And
that's one thing I'm glad they've gone back to that traditional kind of Asian aesthetic.
They look good. They don't look, covered up or...
Christina's footage.
Lost Christina. Did she not like what I was saying?
Huh?
She's back. Bye.
Alright, we're back. Toasty, you touched on him earlier, but we didn't really get into it much. Johnny Cage. What do you think? I know in the gameplay trailer that Christina and I spoke about, his face was a little strange. But I think a lot of the trailers are made early on. So I've noticed with a lot of the characters, when we get the final game or betas or whatever, for example, like Aura, they changed his face as well. And I think Johnny's improved quite a bit as well. What do you think about his gameplay? Like, he's lost his green energy. And to me, that was such an iconic part of his character. And his fireball as well.
Mm-hmm. The green energy
it's this new... Go ahead.
Go on. Okay. His green energy apart, I've played against a lot of Johnny Cages in the beta, and I've tried him a few times as well. And he's great. He has some amazing moves, amazing pop-ups, amazing combo extenders.
He's very agile.
Yes. So he's a character that's going to give a lot of trouble. Yeah. But I personally don't care about Johnny Cage, so yeah. Whatever.
But because this title is like, a completely new slate, like a reinvention of sorts, they really want to take these liberties and really give some iconic characters even like a different spin, right? So it's a little weird to us at first, but I mean, it is true that at the end of the day, sometimes we just got to give them a try. Give it a whirl, see how it really is. And who knows, maybe it could still stick and it could be something else very unique in itself, right? So, it's a little strange to me that the iconic, green energy sort of thing is gone, but I'm always up to giving people chances, so yeah, I don't know, a little mixed.
For me,
I just have to see
most.
Go ahead.
I played Johnny Cage the most in the beta, and
Okay.
when you get that superstar power, you get a shadow sort
The
of
hype
behind it.
meter.
It's not green.
Yeah, it's that weird sort of like a black.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that I just think make that green, like.
Mm.
And I'm actually not a fan of that because I feel like Johnny Cage has this extra thing that no one else has.
Yeah, I was actually curious when they announced that if other characters would
have
get
something.
their own kind of something.
Yeah,
But
it's
no one
like-
did.
Yeah, and he does have. I kept doing it because it's just funny where he throws the sunglasses and it takes damage off them. So he
Yeah.
does have a projectile, but it's the sunglasses. So they would have made it green.
Well,
or
I mean, his shadow kick in the first game was black, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was.
That's
It
true.
became green in
That's true.
MK2, and then the red.
There was the red version, yeah.
Red. Which has some sort of randomizer on it.
Yeah.
In the movies, it was black too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But honestly, I feel like it became green because
That's
the
just
first
sort of
game-
what you associate.
Well,
with
because
Johnny.
in the second game it was green, then the third game, well, it wasn't the third game. Well, every other game since it was always green, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly,
And personally, I loved hearing, about his backstory more, and from his family bloodline. That's sort of how he got those powers, and that was pretty neat. So I'm really saddened, actually, in a way, that it seems to have dissipated in a sense. But
talking about the movie, you know what was going to happen in the Mortal Kombat movie? You know how the Scorpion Johnny Cage scene was going to go? You guys know about the original car?
run, jump, kick, he's
No,
done.
it was just shadow.
Or shadow kick.
It's in the
kick,
movie. So when he kicks him,
Yeah.
if you watch the original trailer, he falls down without the effect in the original trailer. That was going to be
Oh, without the effect.
Yeah. In the original one,
Oh.
I've got trailers on my website. There's 3 trailers, and 2 of them are very rare. They're only on the Laserdisc. And in one
Nice.
of them, you see him just go back without that ripple effect. You know what I mean? So that was going to be it. If
Oh my
that
God.
movie had to come out, it would have been bad.
No, in test screenings, Larry said that the audience threw their popcorn at the screen. That was bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Sorry, Chris, we're going on a tangent.
No, it's
That's all
fine.
right.
No, it's good. People don't want a
Yeah.
robot podcast. They want a natural one. Anyway. But they were lucky because Pat Johnson was done on the film, and they got Robin Shaw because he was still there to choreograph the Scorpion fight and the Reptile fight, and they're the 2 best fights in the movie.
Hell yeah.
Christina?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking back for a second how much I love those 2 fights, but I did want to say when since we're on Johnny now, I saw the official trailer with the Von Damme skin,
Yes.
and I loved it so much. I saw Bloodsport probably 30 times as a kid at least. I love that. Well, I mean, it's a terrible movie, but I love it.
Guilty pleasure.
And the way that they captured the moves and just the way that look, it was so great. Just down to the way that Von Damme does the splits, just with the shorts, and I was really happy. I felt like it was. I mean, I'm not a person that needed to see Von Damme in that role necessarily, but being able to see it, I just had a ball watching it. I'm really excited.
I'm just
I could see the movie like in front of me as I was watching that.
It's a nice full circle
trailer
moment for NetherRealm as well.
Yeah. I mean, right from the beginning, right? Yeah, right from the beginning, the character is based off Van Damme, yeah, so it's cool. But like, even by the way, for some watchers who didn't know this, in Mortal Kombat Legacy, he almost did play live action Johnny at one point. So it's just been in the making for so long, and it's so nice to see it. This has become a reality. Now, I do take some issue with the way his face looks a little bit. I don't know about you guys. I seen like a deep fake kind of thing where it actually looked like way better.
I have a theory on this. Can I stick my hand up? I have a theory.
Okay.
Usually when it comes to high value talent, like actors and stuff, they usually get to pick like how it should look. You know what I mean? There might have been, or they have to approve it, at least say that they like it, right? And he might have signed off on that. And so they have to roll with that. You know what I mean? Because I see what you mean. Fair. But I do see his face in what they've done, but there's times when it looks a bit off.
Yeah, it wasn't the. It didn't look exactly like him, but the way they captured the moves from Bloodsport specifically was so spot on.
That's
I loved
accurate.
it.
On point. On point. And I also want to give a shit. Go ahead.
No, you go.
And also I want to give a big shout out to the return of Andrew Bowen. Yes. I thought he was the perfect Johnny Cage, so it's such a pleasure to see him return. That's definitely a plus for me.
For sure.
I was just going to say, there's a lot of things in Bloodsport that spawn things in Mortal Kombat, like the whole, break the brick thing. It's a schmine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that happen in Bloodsport that spawned a lot of the ideas in Mortal Kombat. It's like Bloodsport, Enter the Dragon, Big Trouble in Little China. I like the base films of Mortal Kombat.
One thing I want to point out as well is he does have that hype meter, which is unique to him, but then I like how they've gone really unique with some characters. So Sindel has the ability to control someone else's Kameo. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of her moves, she can control someone else's Kameo.
That's annoying.
Asher has her dark side.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so they are adding a lot of unique touches to every character, which is quite nice.
I actually really hated fighting the cameos.
Yeah.
I hated it.
I don't
they're
like
distracting. They're like in the background all the time. I'm like, but half the time they're not doing moves, like darting in and out. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell's going on. And then suddenly eye laser, and then your head, and it's like,
it's tricky because with a classic tag game, you're used to characters jumping in and jumping out.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these characters, they'll jump in and they'll get hit by you as well, and they'll jump out, and you expect something, and it's really difficult to watch who you're fighting plus, behind them to see if anyone else is going to pop in, or they might do like a square wave or something, and you just don't see it coming.
Yeah, there's no precursor to see the moves coming, I don't think, and I feel like you're watching the other guy. You're watching the main guy.
Yeah. Plus, I found it difficult. Like learning combos as is, but then trying to incorporate cameos into my combos, and then trying to work out which cameos would work with certain characters. It's another layer of complexity, which is cool, but at the moment I found it I'm still a bit iffy about it. I need to get in there and play it a lot more, I think.
I'm an old school player, and I tried to do a few cameo combos, and they never worked.
Yeah.
Do you guys think ever there's a possibility in the future, via a patch, that they'll ever have just a traditional one-on-one? I kind of doubt it at this rate.
That's the whole
I highly doubt it.
selling point of this game, I think.
That's something they could probably add very easily, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's because, you just have to disable the cameo selection and disable the cameos. And there's probably something like that in Invasions already, half set up. So that could be something that's very easily doable.
It's doable, but I don't think they will.
They might.
Maybe it depends on the feedback. I don't know, once they put this out on the market, and if people really dislike it, maybe they'll have to do something. But I don't know. Maybe people will love it. Who knows?
No, there goes.
There goes Nicole.
I feel like it's a. Bye, Nicole.
And
I
then
feel like it was a little cheap, the cameos. They're like, Shijingo's in it. I'm like, why? No, it's like there's like that whole connection to the story mode. If there's no connection, I don't understand why. It's like
I hope that they're tied in somehow. They're not just there just for
a gimmick. Yeah. It's going back to the trilogy thing that Christina was talking about earlier. Like having the playable boss characters. It's like, why? I never liked it. And like the hitboxes sucked, and they did too much damage, and it was just a big gimmick, and everyone just wanted to be the boss characters. And I'm like, this sucks. This is like ruining Mortal Kombat.
You could just be Kintaro, and just go punch.
Yeah, you just press the punch button. Punch, Kintaro wins.
Yeah.
And that's all everyone does. They pick their boss. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
That's why I had a big problem with trilogy. For that reason.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to Kenshi. What do you think about him? I love the way he looks really Japanese this time. And my friend who was playing as him in the beta spent the most time with Kenshi. And he loved how complex he was. Because you've got your normal moves, and then you've got like the moves with the spirit sword as well. Guy, yeah.
See, that's cool.
A fan of Kenshi?
Well, I'll just say I reckon that's really cool in terms of that's not a cameo, but that's almost like a cameo because you're summoning the spirit guy, but it's still tied to you. I mean, you could make that argument with the cameo guys, but they leave. Do you know what I mean? They dart in and out. Yep. Whereas the spirit guy's always there. I don't know. It seems like that's a better way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I had trouble playing as him, so it makes sense what you're saying about the complexity because I'm not good at these anymore. That's too weird.
Yeah, I tried him and I was like, he's cool, but I suck.
I like playing as Kenshi because so I have characters that I prefer playing more, but sometimes you just gotta zone the heck out of somebody, and he's good for that. Sometimes you just have to resort to that. It happens in the moment.
I think I had that because he was in the stress test, wasn't he? I think I had a guy in the stress test who was doing that. He was just keeping me at bay with the spirit guy. He was zoning me with Kenshi.
Yeah, frustrating.
Like every time I tried to come in, the spirit guy would like...
I know people hate that type of gameplay, but it works. And if you want to get out of pools, just zone them. I don't care if people think that's cheap.
I was hoping that you could fight in the pool in the Johnny Cage mansion.
In the pool.
I still wanted that flamingo to be an interactable, but I don't think
it's interactable. I think we spoke about that.
With a squeaky sound. It needs a squeaky sound.
Of course.
Definitely. Liu Kang. I love his look this time around. I think it's one of his best looks. It's very different, but I really enjoy it. Even with the clown shoes.
Do you think it's Liu Kang?
Do I think it's Liu Kang?
Another theory I was operating on that it might not be Liu Kang.
Really?
That's interesting.
Because of the fatalities, like wild, it's all the dragons and like it's so violent. Like it's like not like Liu Kang at all.
He's just really angry.
Never really thought of that.
But like even you think back to like the classic fatalities, they weren't like I don't know, they weren't as vicious. But I mean, the game has.
He would just like hop and like kick you.
Yeah, in the first one, yeah.
The first one
that had
he
no
had
black
one
screen.
where he turned into a dragon and he'd like bite half of like the top.
Yeah, I like that. That's one of the best MK2 fatalities.
He's gotten angrier as he's gotten older, I think.
Yeah. There's actually specific code written to do that in the arcade to make all the life bars go away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to make it cinematic. So when he does the dragon, all the life bars and everything disappear, and it's just a black screen with the characters, and turns into a big dragon.
Wow. There you go. Do you think that he's going to really ruin the whole environment now because he's reset everything? Do you think he's going to... And everything, I guess, begins off peaceful and then things turn around. Do you think by the end of the game he would have just made a big mess?
I think it's the bad guys that are going to make the mess.
Yeah.
So it looks like... You saw the Chronica thing with Shang Tsung, right? So it looks like, and I don't know because I didn't see it in the 17 minutes, but it looks like Chronic is going to give Shang Tsung magic sorcery powers somehow. And then in one of the trailers, if you look very carefully with an eagle eye, you can see Quan Chi in the background corrupting the corrupted forest. He's doing some sort of spell in the background.
Okay.
So
that makes me sad.
So we know
the
Shang
forest looks
Tsung
so happy right now.
So we know
little baby trees, little baby faces.
No, I was waiting for it to go bad. I'm like, it's gonna go bad. It's got to. Like, it's like the best twist of fate ever. You know what I mean? Where you have something that looks really like gorgeous and nice, but that's not how it originally looked. And then I'm like, it has to twist back to what we know.
Yeah.
I just hope they roar because they haven't really roared for a long time.
You know, the faces are modelled after Ed Boon in MK2.
Yep. That's cool.
I was told that before anybody reported it by Tony Goski when I first met Tony Goski in 2006. We're talking about all the backgrounds. And he told me that the Living Forest was based on Evil Dead and that, and he used Ed Boon's face and everything. He loves Evil Dead. And I've actually maintained a pretty good friendship with Tony Goski and stuff.
Right on.
Very nice.
He's a really cool dude, man. Like, having someone like that working on the environments, like, it's in good hands, you know.
I like that there's a lot of like old heads still at the studio. It's not like overrun by the new kids. We've still got, you know, your John Vogels and a lot of the old school guys are still there.
I don't know what they do anymore. Sometimes I try and find out, what do they do on the game? Like, because their roles must change. They've been there so long, they go up the ladder or something. I don't know. But sometimes it's hard to find out what they're actually doing on the game now. It's like new guys have come in. Like, Vogel used to be the story guy, and now it seems to be Dominic Cinciato, if I said that right.
Giancello?
Is it Giancello? Is that okay? Right. Anyway, I don't know what these guys do anymore.
Is Mike Boone still working on it?
Sorry?
Is Mike Boone still working on the games?
See, that I don't know. Because, Mike Boone was doing a lot of programming with on, like, Deadly Alliance.
3D era.
Exception, Armageddon. I'm not sure if he stuck around after that. But I was shocked to learn, I didn't know this, John Edwards left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought he was still there, and I looked him up recently, and he left in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because when I first met Ed Boon, I was speaking to Ed Boon and John Edwards at the same time. Yeah. They're both cool dudes. He's like, oh, yeah, I came to the Midway team from Shaolin Monk from Paradox Studios.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're getting back to, you know, the very beginning now. So, Raiden, what do you think about Raiden?
It's weird.
I think he's another character who's gone a lot more Asian than he originally was, which I'm a huge fan of. But he looks very young.
Yeah, it's weird. He looks young. He doesn't have the booming voice. He has god powers, but he's not.
And you wonder how some of these characters actually got their powers.
And he's the new champion. And he's one of those guys that makes bets and tries to wiggle out of them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Kung Lao, I think, is someone else who looks really young in this game. Has a real baby face.
They all do, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, right?
I don't mind that, because if we're starting at MK1, it makes sense that they do look younger. So, and
Babyface is one thing, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. It looks almost too AI-ish, and it almost, I don't know. It almost kind of looks like plasticine. Am I nuts?
I got no problem with the age. That's all right. We got you down too.
What did you say, Luke?
What did you say? No, I don't care about the age. It's more the other things. Like, he's not a god now, but he's the defender of Earthrealm. I'm like, you know what I mean? And he doesn't have the voice, and he's just not a god anymore. But he's the
Richard Epcar.
Richard Epcar, no. You know, I met Rich, and he was so nice to me. He was such a cool man, you know? He gave me so many signed autographs for me. I got an interview with him, but I sadly lost all the audio for it, so no one's seen it.
No way!
Yeah, it was
he seems like a great guy.
It was doing all the voices and everything. He was doing all sorts of stuff for it.
Joker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was doing Joker. I'm the only Joker around here. He was doing, like, all those quotes, and I had this... Yeah, and like, some dirt got in the microphone hole when I went to the show, and yeah, I did everything. I took it to his audio expert. It's like,
nah,
because I already played around
not
with
salvageable.
it. I'm like, try, but you know,
love it.
Yeah. Anyway, I had this great interview, and it was really embarrassing because we went through. I'm not going to go into the details, but there was a lot that went into getting that interview. Do you know what I mean? A lot. You know what I mean?
I believe it.
And then I couldn't even repay him with a cool interview like that, which makes me feel bad. It actually I don't know, it gets me down a bit, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just one of those
Naturally, man.
things.
No.
All right, what about the ladies of Outworld, Kitana and Melina? What are your thoughts?
I missed that. What's the girl's name? Caprice. I thought she was
Caprice.
perfect.
Yeah, I really like, but I prefer the look
know.
of Kitana in this one. I think she looks really beautiful.
Kitana looks fantastic.
Yeah, and the costumes are just gorgeous.
Amazing.
Really love it.
True.
Regal.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the lace and all the
Yeah.
trim and all that. All this stuff was missing from 11. That's what I was saying earlier. Like with the costumes, it was clunky and like weird and like covering things up and like, do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, you don't have to have your character look overtly, sexy. You can still have the character look great. Do you know what I mean? With these little details like the lace and all that, and like the straps and belts and like things like this, and have good skins. Do you know what I mean? And I felt like in 11 they weren't doing that, especially when the Frost skin. Oh my god! And it was like last night I watched a video from Max, Maximilian.
Yep.
And he was talking about the skins in 11, and he was liking some of it, and I was getting annoyed, going. and then he got to Frost, and he went, "Nah, I don't like this one." I went, there it is. There it is. You know what I mean? I'm like, there it is. So we agreed to disagree on some things, but like, they made Melina look great. They made Kitana look great, and those unlockable skins that they've shown, like the Torchbearer skin and stuff, like they've shown the flat image, look amazing. Like really great.
Costumes look fantastic. I will say, for sure.
All right, and final few characters: Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Shang Tsung.
Well, Shang Tsung they haven't shown enough of.
Yeah.
I feel like it's weird.
Yeah.
Scorpion. The one thing I'll say about it's a bit of a shot at the marketing. Like it's kind of weird. The trailer came out and it showed Scorpion and Sub-Zero, right? Then we didn't hear about it until like now. Like the bio went up. But like I found it odd like that they showed those characters first, and then straight after that they showed all new characters. Normally they release more information about the character to a degree until the game comes out, and it felt weird with Scorpion. It was sort of like ignoring him. And I'm like, but he's like, it's like Scorpion and Sub-Zero are your main two, right? Like, I don't know, it felt weird. But I don't know if I'm going to like the Scorpion. It's kind of weird. I don't know why he's Sub-Zero's broken and all that stuff.
I'm with you there. I know what you mean.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, again, I think we're all classic fans going way back, so we've got a lot of vested in those original stories and everything, and suddenly that's all been thrown out. Like, I'm open to things being different, but this is very different.
Yeah.
And that's... It sits very in a strange place for me. Like, I need to absorb story mode and play as these characters to see. And I think I've mentioned this before, I think, to you, Christina. If they do make these changes, I hope that they don't then revert back to what we used to know. Like, if you're going to commit to this, just stick with it. At least for 3 games, maybe. Because if the next game comes out and everything was back the way it used to be, then it's like that game didn't really matter at all.
Yeah, that's what happened with MKX, I feel like. So, MK9 happened, right? Fantastic title. But it set up a problem where they killed a lot of the main characters, right? And they became revenants. And so, an MKX came out, they introduced combat kids to offset the missing characters, right? But the revenant characters didn't get enough, like, story. Like, what happened to, will Liu Kang come back? Or, like, will Jade come back? It didn't answer those questions, and it just went on, and we never got those answers. You know what I mean? It was sort of, like, reset and then, like, thrown out. And that annoyed me. You know what I mean?
It's a little messy.
Felt like they gave up on that story. You know what I mean? And they shouldn't have done that. They should never listen to, like, what... You got to listen to the fans to a degree, but I know a lot of people didn't like the Revenants. They had a chance to, like, fix that. And what you're saying, in this new game, if they don't stick with the story and then reset it again and restart another timeline again, it's going to be really jarring and damaging, I think. Yeah. They need to explain the whole thing.
like I said, there's an opportunity here to make it really unique in itself, and it could blow our minds. Like, we don't know. We just gotta have to give it a chance. So I'm interested to see what it'll be like, but yes, absolutely. At the same time, I'm a bit hesitant, right? But hey, what the hell?
My mum always says that you hate change, and it's like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I'm afraid of change.
So, they change something, I'm like, I try and be open to it, but if it's too weird, it's like, I don't know.
Well, here's another question for you.
Sure.
If they kept all of the characters as they were, and they just kept progressing the story, do you think in 10 years' time it would become boring?
Not necessarily, but
not necessarily.
It's all about the writing. I say this about everything, TV, movies, everything. It's all about the writing. You can have superstars in it, and a perfect example is Annihilation. We all like to laugh at Annihilation, right? But I maintain, and I will stand by it forever, Brian Thompson was the best choice for Shah Khan. 100%. Because he looked like him. He was a brute. You know what I mean? But when you have that terrible writing, you know, some of the lines are like, just come off so bad. It's not his fault. You know what I mean? And it is glorious!
Yeah.
If you had better, tighter writing, like if you go back and watch Brian Thompson's some of his earlier stuff, like Cobra, you know, the stuff on Star Trek, X-Files. Like, he was kind of look, I only just started watching the X-Files. I've never watched it.
Oh, dude,
I haven't either.
Yeah, late bloomer, man.
I just got to. I stopped. I got to the Robert Patrick season, and I'm like, it's kind of weird.
That was a weird season. Yeah. And then after that, it just turned to shit. In my opinion.
And my friends know I'm notorious for this. Like, if I get off a show, I won't get back on it. I have to, like, force myself. Look, I love Twin Peaks. Like, I love Twin Peaks, right? Love it. But that new Twin Peaks. Oh, it's so good. But that new Twin Peaks season is so weird. It's so David Lynch. It's like so hard to get through. And but apparently if you do, it pays off. You know, but no. Yeah, it's about. But
back to Mortal Kombat, man.
Well, it was relevant. It's about the writing. It's all about the writing.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So you can have 100 games that follow this storyline, and they can be fine if the writing's good. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
you know, you got to be careful. You can beat an idea into the ground, and that's something like The Boys. I think did really well. So I just watched The Boys, and I really liked it because it's full of like swearing and violence, and I sort of like that. I don't just like that though. Okay, there's a lot of weird shit in that show. Too. Lois Clark, you know what I mean? I've got a lot of different stuff. I've got a big palette of taste for movies, right? But they did it very well in The Boys. They had a story for the first season, story for the second season, story for the third season. They slightly overlap and then go different ways, and that's really clever writing. Because if you keep, and I'll use this as an example, Lois and Clark. Their whole idea in Lois and Clark was like, when you were watching it, was would she find out he's Superman? Right? And then they got to the third season, they're like, let's just do it. Let's have her find out she's Superman. Killed the show instantly.
There you go.
Once you lose that was like the linchpin of the show. Like, don't do it. And they did it earlier where there was a time travel episode and she finds out and then goes back and she doesn't remember, but then later they just had it and it just, you know. So in answer to your question, it is about the writing, you know, and
100%.
You write it well, you got no problem.
Yeah. All right, we'll close it out with the cameos. So I want to make two quick shout outs. One is my boy Mataro. So excited to see him back after so many years gone. And when I say gone, I mean he hasn't been in the games really since, Trilogy? Because I don't include his Armageddon, his two-legged
Minotaur.
That doesn't count. This is...
harsh.
I'd actually say that Mataro is probably the scariest end boss. Like, I was scared of the others, but he was... I really hope he makes those really loud screeching horse noises because they were scary as anything.
That was effective.
And he looks amazing in this. His fatality looks awesome. His moves look awesome. And I like how he's kind of got like a little bit of kind of like a robotic cyborg kind of look to his lower half. I thought that was quite interesting.
For me, it was Kintaro.
Well, I think that's what
the most intimidating.
Yeah, I hope he's.
Oh,
I hope he's
Kintaro.
I hope he's a cameo
Kintaro's
too.
Scary. Kintaro is very extremely intimidating. A bit more than Motaro.
Yeah,
because he comes at you. That. Like it's like, he comes at you. He's got the tiger stripes. He's got that boom, 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 and then when he wins, he's got those teeth showing, And then you got Outworld behind him, just like cheering him on, like,
that's true.
Evil and sick world,
I even like how they kept his when he in MK3 when he used to teleport. It was kind of like it looked like kind of like wavy when he teleported, and they've kind of kept that in this new one too, which is a nice touch.
Yes.
And Toasty, Shujinko, our boy, is back.
Should have been Max Crawford voicing him.
That voice is totally iconic. I hope that he's not just a cameo. I hope that he's got something in story mode. He does look quite different as well. I know I've seen a lot of comments that his eyebrows aren't like white and fluffy like they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that he
looks too much.
I like that he steals the moves of his opponent. That's a really interesting dynamic.
That's pretty neat.
You can't, if someone picks somebody that's going to kick your butt, it's like, well, I can use your moves against you. So that's quite interesting too.
Does that mean everyone's just going to use that cameo?
Yeah.
Does that mean everyone's just going to use Shujinko as their cameo fighter?
Possibly.
Like everyone just using the Flash in MK versus DC?
But that's what I like. Like these characters felt so forgotten. And trailer after trailer now, they're starting to come back. They're being introduced to people like Christina, who missed on that era. They're being introduced to, players who may have just started playing MKX because they're young. Or maybe they just didn't play Mortal Kombat before that. And so, it's nice to say after like 17 years or 20 years, these characters are coming back. And they're paying a lot of homage to their old forms as well, like classic costumes and simple costumes. I think it's a really good recipe for success. I just I hope that they continue down this path and really, bring in some extra characters that haven't had a lot of limelight and use it as an opportunity to reimagine them as well.
That's what I'm hoping for, classic skins that you mentioned.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I just wanted to touch quickly on 4 cameos that are in the combat pack that we've sort of seen nothing of really, which is Chameleon, the female version, who's I believe in Tanya's trailer, just briefly, Mavado, Tremor, and Farah. What do you think?
The Farah thing's kind of weird that there's no Tor, but I'm glad.
Yeah, because they were paired together.
Because I hate brawler characters. But
and Farah was that tiny little person, right? So does that mean we're fighting this little tiny person on the screen?
I wonder if we're getting Tara Strong doing the voice again. I'm very people.
That always confused me because Farah Tor as a character, Tor was huge, and Farah was this little person riding on the back. If it's just Farah,
it seems like she's the voice in his ear.
Yeah,
like she's so small. He doesn't even know she's there, sort of thing. That's the thing. That's how I think about it. You know what I mean? Because he's this big dude, right? And doesn't know she's there. She's telling him what to do. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of weird having no Tor. I don't know how it's going to work.
Like, has she had a growth spurt or
a growth spurt?
Yeah. All right. So in terms of invasions mode, we'll cross it off there. So I haven't seen a lot aside from the trailer that came out. It looks very tabletop, progress, kind of like a Super Mario World map where you go from point to point.
World, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the mode?
Well, I can't wait to unlock Yoshi, that's for sure. Sorry. I couldn't resist. No, I'm fine. I was hoping for a bit of a 3 free roam. I was hoping for
like a conquest.
Conquest. That's all I wanted, man.
I know we all want it, but I just feel like I feel like almost they can't do it these days.
Too ambitious. It's too big.
So the technology is like so like detailed now with all the backgrounds and graphics and everything, right? I feel like it would be a lot harder, and there'd be a lot more time needed to put it in there. Do you know what I mean? But that being said, you look at the backgrounds and they are detailed.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like, I don't know, maybe making them all 3D models would be like not doable and stuff. But like, I'll take this as like a different conquest mode. I like the idea that you can unlock areas, and I love the idea of adding content in. Like, I love that. I've always said if we do ever get a conquest mode back, it needs to be something like a World of Warcraft, where they add content all the time and you can play online, play every night, and try and level up your character for sure. Like, and everyone would be on that, man. Like, I know that everyone would be on that.
It feels a bit like a challenge tower.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. An MMORPG of Mortal Kombat. Like, why not? Do you know what I mean? And like, the noise I
just
see
want an RPG.
The noise I see from people wanting conquest mode back, I think it would work. I think there'd be.
Oh yeah.
And if there would be a way to connect that RPG game to the next fighting game, like, I don't know, you do say 1,000 missions in that game, then in the next game you unlock a character off the bat. See, I'm all for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Does anyone have any final thoughts? I'm hungry.
Next time, bring in conquest mode.
I'm hungry too.
And come on, I want something like Puzzle Combat or Motor Combat.
Well, there are mini games. There's confirmed test your mites in there. So if we're lucky, we might have some of those other, like Mortal Kombat or.
I seen a little leak there the other day. That's all I'll say. And I don't know. It's probably bullshit though, but it would be pretty damn sweet. And
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Some of those leaks, though, it's like, oh my god, they're just fucking...
that's what I was going to say.
Craving for attention, so...
I've been sent leaks in the past, right? I've been sent leaks before. And they're not like these days. Like, it's just everyone getting leaks now. I was sent leaks and I never posted them, ever.
Yeah, I think there's
the MK9 story mode, it was like Jax's barn, and it was like in the editor, and you could see like the XYZ model vertex like in the center of the screen, the green, yellow, blue line.
Okay.
And it was like a shot of like all the number plates up on the wall. Remember all the MK3 codes? Mate, that's never been shown anywhere. That's not even in the final game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's a certain level of disrespect. I think if people just there's still people. Even yesterday, I was looking, and there's people posting bits of story mode and stuff.
I had that shut down actually on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not good.
I reached out to my contacts. Nah. I still have them. And that guy that was streaming story mode on Twitter, I had them go after him.
That's good.
Because I like open Twitter. Screw him, man. Look, if you get the game, if you get the game early, have at it. To quote MK1 story mode. But go crazy, play it yourself. But if you get shot online before the release date, nah, I got no sympathy for you.
Agreed.
Agreed. And I had this argument with Retro, who's a bit anti. I don't know. He has a viewpoint that like if you got it, you should be able to do what you want. I'm like, no. I'm like it's the game's marked September 14th and 19th, and they're like, but that person never agreed to anything. I'm like, well, it's a EULA, you know what I mean? And basically, it's their copyright. They can do what they want until that date.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, look, I don't normally report people, but this guy was literally streaming the whole story mode, just putting a camera on the Switch and just like letting it play, like the whole story mode.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, no. So someone's
just
like, they won't do anything, and I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah, the Switch port looks a bit rough too, but that's another story for another day.
That's another story.
I haven't really seen a lot of it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You lost Christina.
And then there were 3. All right, guys. I guess we'll wrap things up because we're falling one by one. Yeah. Where can we find you guys? You guys. There's only one left. TotalMK. Oh, here we go. Christina's coming back.
Oh.
Oops.
Is it group hug time again? All right, we'll just wrap up. So, Christina and Luke, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can fans follow you on social media?
TotalMK on YouTube, Twitter. Just be warned, I'm outspoken, probably on the spectrum. I'm not joking about that. So, I've been told. So I'm outspoken. Still,
great channel if you're after a good rant.
Yeah, I love my Mortal Kombat.
For sure. The passion.
Hell yeah, bud.
Christina_Rose on YouTube and Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, Christina Rose _E. Sorry, not easy to remember, but we're all that unique.
Yes, it is. That's all right.
That's it. And if you haven't already, please check out TotalMK's Outward Tours. They are incredible, especially season 2. The production value is really well done.
Oh yeah.
Whole lot of fun there.
Shout out to Alex on that one.
And damn you, evil TMK will get you eventually. All right, Toasty, you know how it goes.
Have fun, stay safe, and
stay flawless.
Flawless.